Hi everybody! After my last project, I decided I am on a mission to figure out an easy way to line the inside of a box with fabric. So I've got myself a box here. I have something in mind, and I figured I would just bring you along the ride with me and let's see if it works out. I chose cotton fabric. This is just a piece of a pillowcase that I got from a thrift store. And I figured for this, for trying it out, that cotton would be the easiest to work with. I've got myself some cardstock, a ruler, a tape measure, and the tape measure, a flexible one will be better than using a ruler for getting good measurements inside the box. I've got an X-Acto knife, a pencil, good pair of scissors, and a rotary cutter. Figure the scissors or the rotary cutter, whatever is easiest for you to work with. So let me just show you. If you get your fabric and you just put it down in the box and try to shape it, you're going to end up with wrinkles and all kind of fabric bunched up in your corners. And I can tell you that is hard to clean up, but that's, you know, that's what I have usually ended up doing, and it takes more time and effort, and I usually end up having to cover up the flaws. So I figured what I would do would be to start with a template of the inside of the box. So I'm going to measure the width of the bottom, and this particular one is, it looks like 11 points, or just right at 12 inches. I've got a piece of scratch paper here. Then I'm going to measure the depth, and this is 6 inches. And now I'm going to measure the height. And this is just under 2 inches, but I'm going to call it 2 inches. Okay, move this out of the way for a second. Now, obviously, with it being 12 inches wide, one piece of cardstock is not going to do it. And I want to do a template that takes care of the bottom and the sides of the box. So I'm going to join two pieces together, some Scotch tape, now I'm going to tape it on both sides just to make sure it doesn't get fidgety on me. Okay, so I have my ruler. I'm just going to fold this in half so that I know the center point. I'm just going to make myself a little mark there. Okay, so I know it is 6 inches deep. So I'm going to put my ruler 3 inches at the center point. And since I'm on top of tape, I think I'll use a pen and just draw a line 6 inches. Okay, and I also know that I am 12 inches wide, so I'm going to put my ruler with 6 inches at that center point and draw a line that's 12 inches. And I'll do the same thing at the bottom. And just make sure that's good. Okay, and then I'm going to draw the sides, or the side edges of the bottom of the box. Make sure I took my line far enough. Okay, so this should give me the bottom of my box. But I want to try to do the fabric all in one piece. And that way you don't have raggedy edges going along the bottom of the edges, or you don't have fabric overlapping fabric on the bottom where you're going to get bumps and things. So that's why I took the measurement of the interior of the box being 2 inches. So what I'm going to do now is just measure up 2 inches. I'm just going to do some lines going all the way around, and then I'll join them. And I have my ruler placed at 2 inches from the edge of the inside of the box. I'm going to do this all the way around. And I decided to do this because, like I mentioned in my last video, when I did a search on YouTube for lining boxes with fabric, I did not see anything out there. If there is something out there, then it didn't have any tags, you know, for lining a box. So I figure we'll do this together, and then hopefully all of us have an answer with a good result. That would be awesome. Now obviously you wouldn't be able to use the same template for every box that you do unless you have a collection of boxes that just all happen to be the same size. But if this works, this is really easy enough to do for whatever size box you have. I'm saying it's easy enough to do right now. It's easy if it works. Okay, so now I have dash marks all along, all outside the 2 inches outside of my interior box frame. So now I'm just going to draw solid lines to join those all up. And I'm just drawing the line just all the way down the page. Okay, so now I have basically 2 rectangles drawn on the page. What I want to do now is put my ruler on the outside edge of my interior, line that up, and just draw lines from top to bottom, all 4 sides again. And this will make sense. You'll see in a minute. Okay, so I have my interior of the box, bottom. I have the sides, the top, the bottom, and I have squares on the outside of each corner. And my thinking is I'm going to cut out these squares similar to when you're making a box out of paper. You're going to cut out that part that you're not going to use so that you don't have all that overlap. So I'm just going to get my cutting mat. I could do it with scissors, but I kind of want it to be straight. And do not use your rotary tool with paper if you're going to use it on fabric, because you will ruin the rotary tool. So I'm just putting my blade at the corner where they intersect and lining up my ruler and cutting out this waist corner. Okay, cutting out the corner. Because that would be bulk fabric that we don't need. And you could do the same thing if you're going to line it with paper. And just draw your pencil lines on the back side of the paper, so that when you're done you can just flip it over and score anywhere where there will be a fold, and get your paper down in there nice and neat in the box, all in one fell swoop. I hope this works. If it's an epic failure, then maybe it's a starting point for somebody else to take it and run with it and make it work. But I have a feeling this will work. Three corners. I'm on the last corner. Okay. So now I have a template with sides, a bottom, and no extra filler. But what I'm going to do is just go ahead and trim off. I have some excess here from where I just drew the lines. I'll take off that excess paper, and then I should have a pretty exact template. Now what I could do is score the lines at the interior of the bottom of the box, but I'm afraid if I do that, then I just won't have a flat enough template anymore to do the to lay this on the fabric and get it cut. Now what I intentionally did not do was measure for the fabric to go over the top edges of the box. I don't want to bring the fabric over this top edge because I think that's going to be a little bit too difficult. It will end up leaving bare corners, and most of us are either going to paint or paper or lace the edges anyway, so why make it more difficult than it needs to be? Okay, so here it is, and this should fit the inside of the box. Like I said, I could score these lines. If I were just using paper, then I would definitely score the lines and just be ready to set it in there. But since I want to lay this on fabric, I'm not going to score it. So here's my piece of pillowcase. And what I'm going to do to keep it from slipping is just put some little bits of tape on the underside here. Could use double-sided tape. Probably be faster, but then it would probably leave some marks on the fabric. Okay. And now I'm going to take my rotary tool. You could use scissors if you want to. I just don't think my hand is steady enough to keep clean edges. So I'm going to line up my ruler. And use my rotary tool. And go back and forth a few times. And that rotary tool is not cutting this cotton. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to use scissors. I don't know why it's not cutting through this. Let me put a piece of glass under it and see if that helps it. It might be the knot that I have underneath of it. That's better. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do the 4 sides first and then go back in and do the corners. And I like to run my rotary tool over back and forth a couple times to make sure I've got a good clean cut. Make sure I'm still in frame here. I hope this angle is okay. I just figured if I did it off to the side like I usually do when I'm showing projects, that there might end up being too much shadow, or my hand or my arm would be in the way. Well, missed a spot. Those. Okay, so now I have a piece of fabric. It's a big rectangle because I haven't cut out the corners yet, and that's what I'm going to do next. And hopefully cutting such a small area with a rotary cutter, I don't go too deep in. And one thing you do want to make sure of when you're using a rotary cutter is keep your fingers out of the way, because these things are wicked sharp, and I learned that the hard way. Okay, I didn't get quite far enough in there, so just once in a while you get a stubborn thread that doesn't want to come off. I probably could have just used the scissors to cut this out, but cutting with scissors is not one of my fortes. They really stink at fussy cutting. Okay, so now I have a piece of fabric that will hopefully easily line the inside of my box. I'm going to be so happy if this works. Guess what? I'm a happy camper. Now it does extend the top edge, but I'm just gonna tack that in with a little bit of hot glue. Just so that it can stay steady when I lift up the box. I probably should have had this down before I put the glue in. ceiling fan is cooling off the glue pretty quickly. So this is going to be kind of bumpy, but this is pretty much for demonstration purposes. You know, if I were doing this for a project, I would be using Mod Podge or some kind of gel medium or tacky glue. Okay, not perfect because I was going through it kind of quickly. But oh my gosh, that just works so much better doing it that way than just trying to put in a whole piece of fabric and get the corners. Yeah, try to clean up bunched up corners and things like that. So I think what I would actually do in the future, keep the template, do it exactly the same way, but maybe when I'm cutting out the corners, give myself an extra 1/8 of an inch, and that way you can get a nice clean overlap on the fabric. So okay, I am so happy because that took less time than trying to put it in and clean it up. So I hope that helps you all too. And yeah, well, this won't be in my next project because I'll end up taking this out and scraping off the glue. But hope that helps. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.